They've had official diagnosis of PTSD since all of this has happened.
This 20-year-old returns to the Florida courthouse.
The judge didn't know where to place me.
She says is responsible for sending her.
Oh no, I felt very uncomfortable. I did not want to go.
750 miles away from home to the Cumberland Hospital for Children and Adolescents. It's inside the New Kent facility. She says she'd be robbed of something she'll never get back.
He took a lot of innocence, any innocence I still had as a teenage girl, and he took my ability to function normal.
To understand her 45-day journey at the hospital, CBS 6 traveled south to Inverness, Florida, and the steps of the Citrus County Courthouse.
Yeah, I've lived in this county my entire life.
Citrus County, where this young woman would be diagnosed with multiple gastrointestinal issues, among other health problems. But the week before her 17th birthday, she says, it'd be a custody dispute that would ultimately get her admitted to this hospital 4 states away.
The judge didn't know where to put me, and so she called Cumberland at a court hearing, and she called and she's just like, I need to speak with Dr. Davidow now. And she was talking with him on the phone, and she just quite literally begged him to take me.
She'd arrived the morning of October 17th, 2017. The exact same day the Virginia State Police would launch an investigation into allegations of abuse and neglect against certain Cumberland staff members. One of the first people to greet her that day, the medical director, Dr. Daniel Davidow. Shortly after completing her paperwork, it was time for her physical exam.
He started by lifting up my shirt, and he's like, oh, I'm looking at your tubes. And then he just very suddenly started touching my breasts, and he had me slide down my pants, and then he grabbed my underwear actually and pulled them down. And I was obviously very tense because it's a very uncomfortable situation. And he was like, just relax. And he still did not have gloves on. Stuck his fingers inside of me, and he claimed that it was, he was checking pulses to make sure that they were okay.
These allegations and many others are now part of this $127 million lawsuit filed by 20 former Cumberland patients against the hospital. And KMJ, as she's listed in the suit, isn't the only one accusing Davidow. 11 other young women say he also sexually abused them. The suit alleges the pediatrician who left the hospital in February after a CBS 6 investigation into abuse claims would fraudulently check a female patient's femoral pulse and, quote, place his hand beneath the minor patient's undergarments and sexually abuse the minor patient by intentionally touching the minor patient's intimate body parts. Have you ever had a doctor check for your pulse internally?
No, never.
But she says Davidow would do it again, just days after her hospital stay began.
Because he was like, get up on the table and pull down your pants. And I was like, why? Why do I need to do that? I don't have any medical reason that he would need to be doing these, because this had been probably less than a week since my admission date that he was doing this again.
What do you remember about that exam?
He had stuck his fingers inside. I feel like it was definitely longer this time that he had done that. That his fingers were inside, and he didn't speak much during this exam. He was very quiet. But he also did something that I've never had done, and he was touching other parts. I remember just looking up, and there were tears in my eyes, and I was just staring at the ceiling.
Dr. Davidow provides a justification that the purpose of his pelvic exams was to check the puberty of the patients. What we know for certain is that you don't need to check the puberty of a patient every week in a 6-week stay. So it's completely unfathomable why that would be ever appropriate.
David Dow's femoral pulse explanation was given during a May 4th, 2017 interview with the New Kent County Sheriff's Office and Child Protective Services. It's documented in this police report, which was filed when David Dow was under investigation by the department for inappropriately touching 5 female patients. The allegations emerging from a group therapy session at the hospital when a number of girls told an intern about David Dow's, quote, magical touch during examinations. However, their case managers told investigators they did not observe anything they felt was inappropriate during the exams, and the accusations would ultimately be deemed unfounded.
And when you allow somebody who's abusing their power to then get away with it, it only fuels them more knowing that there's going to be no accountability.
In KMJ's case, the complaint alleges David Dow sexually abused her another 6 times in the exam room and, quote, on at least 2 separate and distinct occasions, defendant David Dow sexually penetrated and abused KMJ in her bedroom at Cumberland Hospital.
But he would touch, it was usually like my breast or like my butt, or I'd wake up like feeling his breath against my neck or something disgusting like that. And those are moments that like I can never get out of my head.
KMJ says the abuse finally ended when she was discharged from Cumberland December 1st, 2017.
I have nightmares like frequently.
But the trauma it inflicted, she says, will last a lifetime.
You were a terrible human being. You destroyed me, you destroyed my family. But I'm okay. I am doing better. I am working through this. The person who's going to be knocked down forever is you.
We reached out to Dr. David Dow through his attorney, who provided us with the following statement that reads, quote, Dr. David Dow absolutely denies all allegations that he ever sexually assaulted or abused any patient at Cumberland. We are confident that when these matters are tried in court, the evidence will clearly prove that these allegations are completely without merit. We've also requested statements from Cumberland and its owner, UHS, which is also being sued. These are just accusations and must be proven in court. David Dow currently faces no criminal charges. His medical license recently became inactive. The state police investigation is ongoing. It has so far resulted in the indictment of a former Cumberland psychotherapist. That case is being prosecuted by the Attorney General's office. Learn more about that case in our series of Cumberland Hospital investigations on WTVR.com. Working for you, Laura French, CBS 6 News.